Hi, Rich Leiter. Welcome to Thoughts on Writing. The book that I wrote, the novel that I wrote, Leaving Home, is of course, it's partly autobiographical, but it's not completely autobiographical. I mean, it is a work of fiction, after all. And the thing about it is this. When I wrote this novel, I decided at the outset, this is an opinion I had formed over many years. I decided that whatever I wrote was not going to be specific only to me and to my life and to my particular situation in the world. Whatever I wrote, I wanted it to be universal. I wanted it to be something that many people could relate to, even if they have not had the same experiences that I have had in life. Now, this doesn't mean that I decided to pander to people, to give them what they want. No, I was going to write about the things that were important to me, but I wanted to do it, and this is the hard part of writing. I wanted to do it in such a way that it wasn't just solipsistic. Not easy to do. For instance, I have mentioned this several times already. I am an admirer of the writings of Charles Bukowski, not all of them, but a lot of the stuff he's written. For instance, I like reading Post Office. Now, Post Office is about a guy who works in a post office and who is an alcoholic. Now, not everybody has worked in a post office. I haven't. And not everybody is an alcoholic. I'm not. And yet I can relate to this story amazingly well, as I'm sure many, many other people can, because it is written in such a way that it can appeal on a universal level. There's a way of doing that. The subject of a novel or story really doesn't matter. The superficial subject of a story or a novel doesn't really matter, because for a work, I consider my work to be literary fiction. I call it that. And the reason I call it that is because when you are attempting to write literary fiction, whatever the subject is, the specific, superficial, immediate subject is, it must appeal to the reader on a deeper, universal level, and it must touch on universal themes, whatever the subject is. That's why after a while it doesn't really matter what the subject is. I mean, you don't say to somebody, "Hey, I'm reading Moby Dick," and the guy or the girl says to you, "Oh yeah, what's that about?" And you say, "Well, it's about a whale." And then they say, "Oh well, whales. I'm not really into whales." That's ridiculous, right? Well, in the same way, whatever you write about is not just about that subject, so that the subject does become irrelevant. And that's the way I try to write. Everything I write, whether I'm successful or not, I don't know, but I certainly try to write it that way, and I definitely tried to write it with this novel, which is why it took me such a long time to do. So, I'm going to read you a section now of the novel. It's about the main character, Franklin Cohen, and he's having a conversation with his mother. So here it is. One day, during the month of August, my college boards educated, Harvard University fixated, medical school fixated, monomaniacal, demented mother, who had slowly but surely been losing even more of her polluted marbles ever since I had politely informed her that NYU and I were now Splitsville, made an unexpected surprise visit to her son's sleeping chamber, i.e., the bastion of certitude. I had just then been finishing up a very interesting and unusual article in the Smithsonian Magazine entitled "In the Realms of the Unreal, the Strange Case of Henry Darger," when my mother suddenly burst into the beloved bastion, extremely agitated, hysterical even, and started ranting and raving about my apparently aberrant, abnormal lifestyle. "My lifestyle?" I said to my mother. "Yes, your lifestyle," my mother said to me. "Well, what about my lifestyle?" "It's not normal," she said. "It's psychotic," she said. "It's perverted," she said. "It's diseased," she said. "Well, what exactly makes it diseased?" I said. "You know," she said. "No, I don't know," I said. "You'll have to tell me, Ma. I'm not a mind reader." "I mean your demeanor." "My demeanor?" "Your appearance." "My appearance." "Your grooming." "My grooming?" "Yes, your grooming. Your personal hygiene. I mean, when was the last time you shaved, Franklin?" "Gee, I don't know, Ma. A week ago, maybe. 10 days. 10 days? Yeah, 10 days. I mean, I do have this weird skin condition." "What weird skin condition?" "It's called pseudofolliculitis barbae." "Pseudofolliculitis what?" "Barbae," I said. "What's that?" "It's a skin condition. It's a medically documented skin condition." "I've never heard of that skin condition." "Well, that's because you're not a dermatologist. Because if you were one, you would have." "Is that so?" "Yes, it is so." "Well, what kind of a condition is it exactly?" "I already told you." "No, you didn't." "It's razor bumps." "What?" "Razor bumps. A common condition of the beard area occurring in up to 60% of African Americans." "But you're not an African American, dear." "Yes, I know, Ma." What a shock. However, pseudofolliculitis barbae can affect Caucasian people as well as Negroes. In fact, anyone who shaves their body hair on a regular basis can potentially acquire it. Can I, too, potentially acquire it? Well, I don't see why not, Ma. I don't believe you. I shrugged my shoulders then, but kept my mouth shut. If Ma didn't want to believe that she, too, was susceptible to razor burn, then that was just fine by me. I mean, it was her body hair, her razor burn, her stupidity. Never argue with a stupid person. It's a waste of time, and you'll never get anywhere. Only argue with intelligent people, because intelligent people will always agree with you, which is precisely what makes them so intelligent. You don't believe me? Well, see for yourself then. Try arguing with 1,000 stupid people. In fact, try arguing with 10,000 stupid people, and then get back to me. We'll have a good laugh. Well, even if you do have this Barbie doll skin condition. I do, and it's not a Barbie doll. Well, whatever it is, you're still missing the point, Frank. Which is, you know damn well what the point is. I'm talking about your physical appearance, about your mental demeanor, about the way you, Franklin Horatio Archibald Cohen, choose to present yourself to the real world. The real world? Huh. Yes. Correct. Okay, Ma. Fair enough. Only before continuing with your insightful analysis of my abnormal, psychotic, perverted lifestyle, would you mind telling me what that is exactly? What is exactly? This mysterious real world that you're always talking about? Oh, please, Frank, don't play games with me. Who's playing games, Ma? It's a legitimate question. No, Frank, it's a stupid question. Well, to you maybe it's a stupid question, but not to me, Ma. To me, it's a great one. Does it mean, say, getting up every morning and taking the train in to go to work, along with all of the other domesticated, expendable farm animals? Being an exceedingly docile, obedient farm animal and getting a pat on the back for it in the form of a paycheck? Paying all sorts of compulsory taxes on it? Paying federal taxes, paying state taxes, paying city taxes, paying sales taxes, paying property taxes, self-employment taxes, capital gains taxes, estate taxes? Being trapped in an essentially totalitarian financial system in which huge megalithic corporations are allowed to print funny money whenever they feel like it, out of thin air, out of nothing, and which is backed by nothing other than some government decree which says that it's worth something, which it really isn't, of course. Hey, if they can do it, then why can't we do it? I mean, if I want to buy a house, for instance, only I don't have a dime to my name to buy it with, then why can't I buy it anyway, just by writing the owner a worthless check and then saying to the guy, trust me, this is worth something. You have my word on it. Now hand over the fucking keys, asshole. Is that what you mean, Ma? Is that what you're talking about? The world of funny money, the world of monopoly money, the world of worthless, valueless pieces of toilet paper? My mother stared at me then. She stared at me hard, as if I were some kind of odious bug or something, like I was a cockroach, like I was a dung beetle, like I was some kind of crazy, lunatic fringe conspiracy theorist who was suddenly pissing on the very bedrock of her precious Norman Rockwell American wet dream. Get away from me, you crazy nut, you, with your crazy, lunatic fringe conspiracy theories. Leave Norman and me the hell alone. That sort of hard stare. Then, after she had finished staring at me, after she had finished gazing at me in abject horror, she said to me in a sorrowful voice, tell me, son, what seems to be troubling you? Why, nothing at all, Ma. What makes you say that? Well, there has to be something, she said. Some reason. I mean, this doesn't just happen suddenly. What doesn't just happen suddenly? You know. No, I don't know. My mother shook her head then very slowly, exceedingly slowly. with her two unseeing eyes closed. And then she turned her disappointed, sorrowful countenance up to the heavens above her, or in this case, to the ceiling above her. I assumed that she was communing with God, asking the good Lord to grant her the serenity to deal with stupid assholes like her idiot offspring. The good Lord said something to her then. I don't know what it was exactly, but something marvelous, something really awe-inspiring and worthy of Yahweh. Like, don't you worry, you saintly woman, you Mother Teresa, you Eleanor Roosevelt, you. Take heart, Doris, don't despair. We'll make a mensch out of the asshole yet. Really, Lord? You're not just saying that? No, Dottie, I'm not just saying that. Well, what should I do then, Lord? I mean, what's the game plan? The game plan? Very simple. Just keep doing what you're doing, Dottie. Keep hammering away at him. Go for the body shots. Eventually, you'll wear him down to the point where all he can think about is becoming a doctor. Or if not a doctor, then an orthodontist. Or if not an orthodontist, then a corporate attorney. Or if not a corporate attorney, then a CPA. How does that grab you, Dottie? Is becoming an accountant? Sounds good, Lord. Okay. Terrific. I'll make a note of it then in my celestial calendar. Get the shithead to go to business school. Gee, thanks, Lord. Hey, no problem. And then the good Lord politely excused himself to attend to his other affairs, which were multitudinous.